Have you ever felt that no matter how many years you've studied English, read countless books, or done endless exercises, when it comes time to actually talk to someone, you suddenly feel lost? Like all the grammar rules, vocabulary, and knowledge you crammed into your head just vanish. I know that feeling, and I'm sure you've experienced it too.
Yeah, I've been there too. The truth is, knowing grammar or thousands of words doesn't necessarily make your English sound natural. You can speak correctly, but it doesn't always feel comfortable or confident. Have you noticed that people who speak English naturally don't just rely on rules? They use phrases, alive ones, used every day, almost instinctively.
That's right. And today, we want to explore with you 30 simple but powerful phrases. Phrases that help you listen and speak English in a natural, friendly way. We'll share not just the meaning, but real-life stories and little experiences, so you can learn easily and enjoyably.
Imagine you're in a meeting, or just chatting with a new friend. You want people to understand you, and you want to feel relaxed and confident. When you use a phrase like, on the same page, meaning, we understand each other, everything suddenly feels clearer and smoother. I remember my first time in a new English class. I was a little nervous. Didn't know what to say. One classmate asked me about my interest in football, just a small question. But it broke the ice and made me feel welcome.
And maybe you've experienced a moment of getting cold feet, feeling nervous before something important. Like your first presentation, or meeting someone for the first time. I remember preparing a presentation at work. I practiced over and over. But stepping up to the podium, my heart raced. That feeling is normal. But if you know how to use everyday phrases, speaking becomes much easier. They act like a bridge between your thoughts and your words.
And small phrases like, hit the books or piece of cake, don't just help you express yourself accurately. They make conversation feel natural and friendly. For example, you can say to a friend, wow, this homework is a piece of cake. It feels so relaxed. Right? Or when you say, I need to hit the books tonight, it doesn't just mean studying. It conveys seriousness and effort. In a natural way.
Have you noticed that English is also a way we tell our stories? I once listened to a podcast where the host said that using a phrase like, burn the midnight oil, isn't just about staying up late to study, it's a way of sharing effort, determination, and overcoming challenges. These phrases, though simple, carry emotion, experience, and even life philosophy.
And the important thing is, you don't need to learn them all at once. You can pick a few phrases and try using them in class, with friends, or even when talking to yourself. Imagine adding a few phrases each day, repeating them, making them part of your thinking and communication. One day, English will become a natural part of you, not a burden or stress.
We don't just want you to learn vocabulary or grammar. We want you to feel English is alive, a journey of self-discovery. A journey where each phrase you learn, each sentence you try to speak, is a small but valuable step. Have you ever heard that actions speak louder than words? When you actually use English daily, every phrase becomes an action. And actions, you know, will change you.
So today, I want to ask you, which phrase will you start with? Practice makes perfect. Or, on the same page. Pick one, try it, and notice how it feels to say it. You'll be surprised. Just a small change can make your whole communication feel more natural. And don't forget, every time you use a phrase, you take one step closer to confidence. One step closer to fully expressing yourself.
Join us on this journey. Not to memorize, but to experience, observe, and apply. Let English become a part of your life. Like stories and small moments, simple, meaningful moments that truly matter.
Alright, now let's dive a little deeper. Let's start with some small phrases that have big power in everyday life. Do you know, break the ice? It's not just for classrooms or meetings. I remember the first time I attended a new workshop. Everyone was unfamiliar. And I felt a bit nervous. But a friend started chatting about travel, just a simple question. And suddenly the atmosphere became so relaxed. You see, English isn't just vocabulary or grammar, it's a bridge connecting you with the people around you.
And next, let's talk about get cold feet. I think many of us have felt this. I remember my first time presenting in front of a whole conference room. I practiced thoroughly. But standing there, My heart was racing and I wanted to turn back. Actually, that feeling is completely normal. What matters is that you keep moving forward, using everyday phrases to speak more naturally so your nerves don't hold you back.
Then there's hit the books. I often tell myself, okay, time to hit the books today. It's not just about studying seriously, it's a reminder that daily effort, even small, creates big results over time. Have you noticed that when you consistently work on something, even a few minutes each day, you feel progress bit by bit? English works the same way, one step at a time, every day.
And we can't forget piece of cake. This is such a natural way to describe something that's easy. I often say to friends, wow, this homework is a piece of cake. It sounds fun and friendly. But remember, context matters. Not everything is a piece of cake. If you call a difficult test easy, people might get a little confused.
And then there's under the weather. When you're not feeling well, instead of just saying, I'm sick, you can say, I'm under the weather. It sounds lighter, more natural. I remember the other day, I was feeling a bit off, and I said to a friend, I'm under the weather today. It communicates how you feel without sounding too serious or dramatic.
Have you ever noticed that sometimes it's not just knowing the words that matters, but knowing when to use them? For example, call it a day. I often use it when studying late and feeling unfocused. Instead of forcing myself, I say, okay, let's call it a day. It means pause, rest, and come back refreshed. This is also a way to take care of yourself while learning.
And then there's break a leg. You'll hear this a lot when someone wants to wish you luck before a presentation or performance. I remember my first English test, and a friend said to me, break a leg. At first, I was a bit confused. But then I realized it's a phrase full of energy, motivating you and helping you feel confident.
The ball is in your court is another interesting phrase. It's not just for work, it works in everyday life too. I once said to my brother when planning a trip, I chose the hotel. Now, the ball is in your court to book the tickets. It's fun, and it clearly shows who's responsible for the next action. It also makes group communication smoother.
And of course, spill the beans or let the cat out of the bag, both used to talk about revealing secrets. I remember getting too excited and telling my friend about their birthday gift early. And they laughed, saying, you spilled the beans. Moments like that show English isn't just words, it's stories, emotions, and a way to connect with others.
These small phrases may seem simple, but they make a big difference. When you say, hit the sack, to go to bed, or cost an arm and a leg for something expensive, you're not just conveying information, you're telling a story, expressing emotion, and practicing natural communication. And each time you use them, it's a small but important step forward.
So today, I want you to ask yourself, which phrase will you start with? Practice makes perfect, or, on the same page. Try using it, and notice how it feels to say it. Each time you do, you're not just learning English, you're learning to express yourself, connect with others, and step out of your comfort zone.
So we've gone through some of the first phrases, small words, but very common in daily life. Now, let's take a deeper look. There are phrases that don't just help you communicate, they reflect how you see and approach life. For example, once in a blue moon, something that happens very rarely. I remember spending a whole week perfecting a project. And when it succeeded, I thought to myself, wow, this really is once in a blue moon. It reminds me to cherish special moments and realize that not every day is the same.
And then there's hit the nail on the head, when you say something exactly right. Right to the point. I once heard a student say, English needs daily practice. I replied, you hit the nail on the head. A simple phrase, but it's like a gentle tap on the truth. It reminds us that sometimes, the way we speak is also a way to affirm our ideas and connect thoughts with each other.
And, burn the midnight oil. Surely we've all had those long nights studying, working, or trying to finish something important. I remember staying up all night preparing a presentation. Exhausted but excited. Using this phrase in a story doesn't just mean working late, it conveys effort, persistence, and determination to overcome challenges.
And you'll see that some phrases are fun and encouraging. Break a leg, for example, sounds strange but is full of energy, motivating someone before a presentation or performance. I remember my first English exam. And a friend said, break the leg. At first, I was confused, but then I smiled and thought, yes, I need confidence to do well.
Have you ever heard the saying, actions speak louder than words? It's true for learning English too. You can say, I want to learn English, but if you don't practice every day, those words are just words. Actions are what shape your skills. That's why we always remind you, try using small phrases daily. In real life, with friends, or even talking to yourself.
And, burn bridges, ruining a relationship you can't go back to. I always remind my students, never do anything you'll regret later. In learning or at work, every relationship is valuable, and maintaining respect helps you grow and learn over time. These phrases aren't just vocabulary, they're lessons about how to live and interact with the world.
Then there's, by the book, doing things according to the rules. When I was younger, I liked to experiment, sometimes forgetting the basics, but after a few mistakes, I realized that mastering the rules before being creative lets you move faster and safer. English is the same. Knowing the rules gives you confidence. Then you can play freely with language.
And, a blessing in disguise. Something that seems bad at first but turns out good. I remember failing an English test. At first, I was disappointed, but that failure pushed me to study harder. Looking back, I realized that setbacks can hide opportunities. English, or any skill, works the same way. Every time you stumble, ask yourself, what is this teaching me?
And, in hot water, being in trouble. Have you ever missed a deadline or done something to upset your boss or teacher? I have, but learning to express it with this phrase makes even awkward or tricky situations easier to share. And sometimes even brings a little humor.
The best of both worlds, enjoying two good things at once. I often read a book while listening to an English podcast. Relaxing and learning at the same time. Phrases like this remind us that learning English doesn't have to be stressful, it can be a fun part of daily life.
Then there's, add fuel to the fire, making a situation worse. In communication, sometimes we unintentionally escalate things. Knowing this phrase helps you recognize when to pause and when to speak carefully so you don't worsen the problem. It's also a lesson in sensitivity and tact in life.
And finally, for this part, throw in the towel. Have you ever felt like giving up when learning a difficult word, phrase, or skill? I have, but if you keep going, every small step adds up, and soon you'll see progress. Every phrase you learn, every time you try to speak, is a small victory, but a very valuable one.
So today, we've explored many phrases, everything from everyday expressions to deeper lessons about life, connection, and personal growth. You see, learning English isn't just about the language, it's a journey of discovering yourself.
And I want you to ask yourself, among all these phrases, which one resonates with you the most? Which one makes you want to try it today? Remember, small actions make a big difference. Every time you try, every time you use a phrase, you move closer to confidence and natural communication. Are you ready to give it a try?
We've gone through quite a few phrases already, but there are still a few small ones that are incredibly useful in daily life. Take, killed two birds with one stone. For example, solving two things at once. I often use it when I'm listening to a podcast while going for a walk. Honestly, you're moving your body and learning new words at the same time. Simple, but doubly effective. Have you ever tried combining two tasks at once? It's like a small strategy to make the most of your time while still feeling relaxed.
And then there's, bite the bullet, facing something difficult but necessary. I remember having to pay a big bill I didn't want to. But I knew avoiding it would cause problems. I told myself, okay, bite the bullet. It's the same in learning English. There are tough exercises, long sentences, but when you accept the challenge and push through, each time you do, you move closer to confidence.
Actions speak louder than words. I've met so many people who say they want to master English, but they don't really practice every day. And you know what? When they start using the phrases they've learned in real life, progress comes quickly. It reminds us that talking isn't enough. You have to take action to see results.
And, a blessing in disguise. Something that seems bad at first but turns out good. I remember failing a test once. Feeling really disappointed, But that failure pushed me to study harder. Looking back, I realized it was a hidden opportunity. And you know, every English phrase can be an opportunity like that, an opportunity to connect, to learn, to express yourself.
Then there's, in hot water, being in trouble. I once forgot to submit an assignment on time and got a warning from my teacher. At first, I was scared, but when I told my friends I was in hot water, it made things lighter and even funny. That's the power of language. Even difficulties, when expressed the right way, can become interesting stories.
The best of both worlds, enjoying two good things at once. I often read a book while listening to an English podcast, relaxing and learning at the same time. Phrases like this remind us that learning doesn't always have to be stressful. If we combine things wisely, we can study and enjoy life. And that feeling is truly worth it.
Add fuel to the fire, making a problem worse. In communication, if we say or do the wrong thing unintentionally, situations can escalate. Knowing this phrase helps you express your point accurately and recognize when to stop. It's also a lesson in sensitivity and subtlety in life.
And finally for today, throw in the towel. Have you ever felt like giving up when learning a difficult word, phrase, or skill? I have. But if you keep going, every small step adds up. Every time you try to speak or use a phrase, it's a small victory, but an extremely valuable one. Have you felt that? I think we all have moments like that in learning and in life.
So today, we've gone through almost all the essential phrases, from everyday expressions to deeper lessons about effort, patience, and connecting with others. You see, learning English isn't just about the language, it's a journey of self-discovery.
And I want you to ask yourself, among these phrases, which one makes you want to try it today? Will you start with, practice makes perfect, on the same page, or, break the ice? Every time you try, it's a small step, but an extremely important one. Each phrase you use, you're not just learning English, you're learning how to live, how to interact, and how to step out of your comfort zone.
So, we've journeyed together through 30 everyday English phrases. From, on the same page, get cold feet, break the ice, all the way to, throw in the towel. Each phrase doesn't just help you communicate naturally, it carries stories, emotions, and life lessons. You see, learning a language isn't just about memorizing vocabulary, it's about expressing yourself, connecting with others, and stepping out of your comfort zone.
Imagine this. Every time you use a phrase, you're telling a story. When you say, hit the books, you're talking about effort. When you say, break a leg, you're sending positive energy. When you say, practice makes perfect, you're reminding yourself that progress comes from persistence. English isn't just a language, it's a way to share feelings, convey messages, and connect with the world.
Have you noticed that each phrase can also be a life lesson? A blessing in disguise, reminds us to see opportunity in failure. Actions speak louder than words teaches us that words alone aren't enough, action makes the difference. Burn bridges, reminds us to value our relationships. And, the best of both worlds reminds us to live smartly. Balancing learning and joy.
And today, I want to ask you, which phrase will you start with? Break the ice with a new friend. Or, kill two birds with one stone, while studying and relaxing. Call it a day, when you're tired. Or, bite the bullet, to take on a challenge. Every time you try, you're doing something simple but deeply meaningful, making English a natural part of your life.
The important thing is this: never give up. Throw in the towel is never an option. Learning English, or any skill, is a long journey. But if you keep going, step by step, you'll see real progress. Every phrase you learn, every time you try to speak, is a step closer to confidence, natural communication, and a better version of yourself.
So today, I challenge you. Pick at least one phrase from these 30. And use it today, whether in class, with friends, or talking to yourself. Let each phrase become an action. Each action lead to progress. And each progress create a real difference.
Remember, this journey isn't a race against anyone else, it's about discovering yourself. Let English become a vibrant part of your life, like the stories you cherish, the moments you treasure, and the lessons you want to carry forward, step by step, day by day. You'll go further than you ever imagined.
Thank you for joining us today. Keep patient, keep enjoying the process, and keep practicing. Every time you use a phrase, you move closer to confidence and natural communication. We'll see you in the next lesson. And remember, live and learn English with your whole heart.
Don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss future lessons, and share this video with a friend who wants to learn English with you. And most importantly, take action today. The very first step will shape your journey.